Good morning. It is 9 a.m. on this Thursday, March 5th. We have a half hour of Daybreak left here on WGRZ Plus. And we are following developing news from the Erie County Sheriff's Office, where the embattled chief of narcotics, DJ Granville, is now announcing that he'll be submitting his retirement paperwork at the end of the month. As you know, he's been the center of controversy after he crashed his county-issued vehicle into 7 parked cars on Buffalo's west side back in April of 2024. And Daybreak's Natalie Foss is joining us live in the newsroom now with some information about that retirement, where the timing is a little surprising, Natalie.
Yeah, Melissa, that's right. This is the reason why it's so surprising, is because the chief of narcotics, DJ Granville, was up for his 20 years with the department. Back in, we've reported that he's eligible for a pension of $104,000, but the Buffalo News is reporting that 20 years isn't until August for him, so he'll be retiring on March 27th before that 20 years. Now, since the crash in April of 2024, Granville has pled guilty to reckless driving and leaving the scene of an accident. The news of his retirement comes less than a week after Buffalo Police internal affairs files were released. Now, those files laid out how Buffalo Police handled the response to the crash. We're hearing from the Erie County Sheriff as well, John Garcia. He released a statement that reads in part, quote, "I'm grateful for his decades of service to Erie County. As a result of his work, kilos upon kilos of drugs and hundreds upon hundreds of illegal weapons have been taken off the streets. He saved lives, and for that, he has the respect of his colleagues." Terry Connors, who is his attorney, said that Granville will be entering the private sector, and it's unknown at this time where he's accepted a new job. On your side in the newsroom, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
All right, Natalie, we'll stay on top of it. Thank you. In Washington, the House is expected to vote on a war powers resolution today. It is not expected to pass. It didn't pass the Senate either. That similar resolution was voted on yesterday. It failed 53 to 47. It would have restricted President Donald Trump from further military action against Iran. Now, it comes as the Pentagon confirms the first U.S. attack on Iranian forces outside of the Middle East. This is newly released video of a U.S. submarine using a torpedo to sink an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean, where more than 80 people were killed. Top U.S. officials say the overall mission is still in its early days and that the next phase is to take control of Iranian airspace.
The mission is laser focused. Obliterate Iran's missiles and drones and facilities that produce them, annihilate its navy and critical security infrastructure, and sever their pathway to nuclear weapons.
Now, this comes as a new poll shows many Americans do not support the U.S. war with Iran, as lawmakers consider requiring President Donald Trump to get congressional approval before any more military action. Again, the Senate did not approve that. The House is voting today. And 5 days into the conflict, Secretary Pete Hegseth, as you just heard, says the U.S. is winning, but warns more strikes could be coming. Alice Barr has the details from Washington.
Good morning. We're tracking new developments after Pentagon leaders said they sank an Iranian warship in international waters. Iran is vowing to retaliate as the war intensifies. Air raid sirens in Jerusalem this morning and new explosions in Tehran as the U.S. and Israel trade fire with Iran. The message from the Pentagon and the White House that the U.S. is winning and larger waves of strikes are coming.
Their missiles are being wiped out rapidly.
President Trump arguing striking Iran was necessary to keep the regime from developing a nuclear weapon.
When crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen.
Critics in Congress, dissatisfied with the administration's explanations, pushed a resolution to limit the president's war powers without congressional approval, but Senate Republicans voted it down. That amid new details, a senior U.S. official confirmed to NBC News that Israel's prime minister called President Trump last Monday to say Iran's supreme leader would be meeting with his top advisors on Saturday, offering a chance to take them all out at once.
That obviously had an impact on the timeline of the operation, but not quite the president's decision in its entirety.
Trump officials point to a breakdown in nuclear talks with Iran last Thursday and the president's belief Iran would strike first. New polling from NBC News shows a majority of Americans surveyed disapprove of the president's handling of the situation in Iran, as families mourn the 6 U.S. service members killed in Iranian counterstrikes on Kuwait, where they were stationed. Among them, 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody.
I just wish he could have known one more time that we all loved him because he was so amazing and kind.
Now, Americans across the Middle East scrambling to get to safety with the administration promising help. Facing growing criticism about the planning to get stranded Americans home with thousands of flights canceled, the White House now says the administration is chartering flights free of charge and opening seats on military planes. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
And also on Capitol Hill, the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security is answering questions now about the death of Buffalo refugee Nurul Amin Shah Alam. During a House Judiciary Oversight Committee hearing yesterday, New York Congressman Jerry Nadler asked Kristi Noem about multiple cases involving ICE and Border Patrol agents. Here's that exchange.
Will the agents who lied at Columbia face discipline, or the officers who forced their way into my office? What about the officers in Buffalo who abandoned a barefoot blind refugee in the middle of a freezing night miles away from his home? Will any of them face accountability?
Well, sir, you talk about several different specific cases. What I would say is some of your facts are wrong on some of those cases, but also that they are all being reviewed. We do have a review process in the ICE agency within that department
like
that goes through and does an OPR, which is the Office of Professional Responsibility, make sure that all protocols were followed.
And at this time, the Erie County Medical Examiner has yet to release a completed autopsy report. State Senator Jeremy Zellner honored fallen firefighter Jason Arno yesterday on the Senate floor in Albany. This week marks 3 years since Arno died in the line of duty battling a massive fire near Buffalo's Theater District.
He served the city of Buffalo without hesitation. He ran toward danger to protect us all, and he made the ultimate sacrifice. May he rest in peace, and may we honor him not just in words, but in how we support all who serve.
Now, that 61st state Senate seat that Zellner holds was won in a special election last month, and it's up for grabs in November. We now know that Republican candidate Dan Gagliardo will not be running in the general election. Gagliardo tells Two on Your Side after spending the last 17 months campaigning, most recently for that Senate seat, and before that, Amherst Town Supervisor, he now wants to focus on his family. At this point, no Republican challenger has been announced. Zellner is expected to face a primary challenge in June from New York State Assemblyman John Rivera.
I just thought that it would have been a harder road for us to win, and I believe that the parties themselves need to reevaluate how to get more people out to vote.
And to win in an overwhelmingly blue district, Gagliardo says he would need a high voter turnout and believes voter dissatisfaction, especially with what's going on in Washington, will actually create a scenario where fewer people are willing to turn out at the polls. Okay, it is 9:08. Time for another check of the forecast. Lots of colors behind you, Patrick.
Pretty colors, if you don't mind delicate shades of green and maybe a couple of yellow spots in there. That's indicative of rain, and the green is kind of the light to moderate rain, and where you see a little yellow, that's where it picks up a bit in intensity. And we're about to see a little light rain move through now in the next hour or so, but this is the rain down here that is coming our way, it looks like, for the afternoon. And it's going to be a wet afternoon and evening for sure. You can see, now this is kind of a moss green, right? Or is it look moldy? Yeah, moldy's kind of a negative. Mossy?
Wouldn't you call that negative?
Well, yeah. Well, if you're, yeah.
I mean, that's almost a forest green. That's how dark it is.
Yes. Okay, that's probably a better. If you're an interior decorator, I'd say, I would like this room in forest green. That sounds lovely. I would like this room in moss. Not so lovely, right? I think forest green sounds better. And that's what you got. We've got a little pink up there across the Niagara, on Lake Ontario shoreline, where there might be a little freezing rain mixed in, and rain will continue and move out, it looks like, by tonight rather. And then tomorrow looks kind of cloudy but mild, with numbers in the mid to upper 50s, with a couple of showers possible Friday night. Okay, for today, right around 40, upper 30s to around 40 for the Niagara Frontier. For the southern tier, closer to 50 degrees. And then tomorrow, a lot warmer, but still kind of on the cloudy side. Then on Saturday, we have a slight risk of severe weather. Storms Prediction Center has put us in that category. A couple of showers Saturday morning. You can see those coming through, but notice a couple of thunderstorms as we head towards Saturday afternoon. Hard to place them exactly, but right now the potential is there for a couple of gusty thunderstorms Saturday afternoon and even into Saturday night. If you're going to the Sabres game against the Lightning, there might be some lightning. But yeah, you might have to dodge a few showers coming and going. Scattered light showers mid to late morning, steady rain this afternoon. Tonight, cloudy with some showers, mid-30s. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy, mid to upper 50s. There are the thunder showers Saturday. Spring forward Saturday night. Sunday looks quiet with temperatures close to 50 degrees. Monday looks beautiful. Tuesday, some increasing clouds, and then wet weather looms for Wednesday. Now, Melissa coming up on our weather show at 12:30 on our streaming channel, WGRZ Plus. We're going to dive into the severe weather season that we're getting into and a peek towards the St. Patrick's Day weekend, meaning St. Patrick's Day, I think, is on a Tuesday.
Yes.
But it's the Saturday and Sunday when all the fun and games are. And that might be a week of kind of a weekend of weather transition. So we're going to talk about that coming up.
And then we've got thousands of people coming into town for the 19th and the 21st, which is for March Madness.
That's right.
Lots coming up here in the month of March, and we'll talk the weather on the weather show here on WGRZ Plus at 12:30. But coming up, we'll see what Joe Brady thought of the Bills Stadium when he toured it for the first time. And we'll also talk about some potential trade moves for the Sabres coming up. Stay with us. Take that deep breath. Like this is my house now.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott had a lot of planning, a lot of say in the planning for the Highmark Stadium, but Joe Brady is going to be the one reaping all the benefits.
Who do you think they open with at this new stadium? I mean, think about that. That's a signature game, and you can't have it be the Jets.
No, but would
or
it be
Miami.
the Patriots because they were just in the Super Bowl?
Patriots could be it.
Yeah.
I guess it could be like Kansas City.
Could it be the Chiefs, right?
Because this is a showcase game, that first one.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I would think maybe it is the Patriots because it's a divisional game. They just were in the Super Bowl.
You can't lose that game.
No.
The first game.
Could you imagine? And what if stuff isn't working? Okay, they want to try it out. They're saying that they're going to have it ready by the summer still.
And they'll have preseason to work through.
They'll have preseason to work through, and they may even do some concerts ahead of time. We're still trying to figure out what that looks like. Obviously, they'll have some trial runs without anyone involved. But, what if the scoreboard doesn't work?
Yeah. Do you remember that happened? That happened during the Super Bowl a couple years ago, where the stadium lost power during the Super Bowl. And I remember Steve Tasker was the sideline reporter, had to talk and fill the time because they're like, we have no power, but I got to keep rolling. Yeah. Anyway, that first game, it's kind of like that snow game we had in 2017. It's like, dude, the Bills cannot lose in a foot of snow, and they didn't. But this first game, it's got.
Yeah, but I also don't think nationally people care about the Bills Stadium as much as we obviously do. I don't think that on a national level this would be a primetime game just because the Bills are opening their new stadium. I think it's just really important.
I bet though I would think maybe that's I gotta believe game one at the stadium will be a primetime. I would think.
I just remember just a few seasons ago when we were dying to get a game that wasn't 1 o'clock on a Sunday.
Now that's all we get. Last year we were complaining like crazy. Our first 4 out of the 5 games of the season were at night.
Yeah, especially for us on our schedule where we're waking up at 2 in the morning. It was tricky for us.
So stressful watching the game on your phone in the morning before the show.
Or I stayed up late. And
I know, she's a trooper.
the sleep.
She is a trooper. Good for you.
I've been staying up to watch a lot of Sabres games.
Yeah.
How about you? You can't watch MSG, can you?
Well, unless my son, but Pete just told me my son could share the Gotham Sports app with our other televisions.
Yes.
He just hasn't done.
William, get on this. So those sons of ours, happy birthday to Elliot.
Yes.
12 years old today.
That's awesome.
Those of you who have watched Daybreak for many, many years knew that I was pregnant with Elliot and watched that whole thing. And I went to work the day he was born. I can't believe it was 12 years ago. Absolutely.
And he had those blonde curls.
Sorry.
The minute I get into
the
years 1 through 3, Melissa gets kind of emotional.
Yeah, so he's 12 years old.
That's awesome.
Happy birthday to Elliot.
Happy
birthday. A huge Sabres fan. He's 12 years old, has never seen the Sabres in a playoff game. It's absolutely crazy. A whole generation of children have
Even if he had a brother that was 4 years older than him, that brother didn't see it either. It's been 14 years.
Yeah. But the NHL trade deadline is Friday. The Sabres are reportedly making moves to improve their defense. Darren Drager's reporting that a trade has been agreed to between the Sabres and the Blues, sending defenseman Colton Parayko to Buffalo in exchange for last year's first-round pick for the Sabres, Radim Murtka, and this year's first-round pick as well. But the holdup is that Parayko would need to waive his no-movement clause. If he does that, the Sabres would be adding the 6'6" right-shot defenseman with nearly 800 NHL games and 89 playoff appearances under his belt, including a Stanley Cup win with the St. Louis Blues in 2019. Besides from this possible addition, the Sabres have currently won 4 straight since returning from the Olympic break, and they are going for 5 straight tonight, playing against the Pittsburgh Penguins at 7 o'clock tonight. We can stay up for this. It'll be over.
Yeah, I keep looking to see if that guy is accepting the no trade clause, because it could be any moment.
Right.
Right, because the trade deadline is tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 3.
I feel like it's coming.
Yeah.
Yes or no.
Right, but
wouldn't it be a weird look if he said no?
Going from a really bad
going from a team that's going nowhere to a team that's.
I don't really know a lot about him. I have to ask Pete and our.
No, he's tall.
Yeah, 6'6".
6'6". Yeah, that's tall. And he's a good player.
Tall. Yes, but yeah, this used to be a time that the Sabres were getting rid of people, and now to bring in good players, it just shows what a shift this season has been for the Sabres. And again, they're 2 points out of the lead in the division right now with Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay does have 2 games in hand. But they're sitting at 80 points, the Sabres at 78. Now Sabres.com has this really cool playoff tracker where you can find out not only where the Sabres are in the standings, but also who you should be rooting against.
I know. I get so confused. Like, okay, we want Washington to lose. Ottawa to lose, there's a lot of.
Yeah, well, Tampa Bay does play tonight, so we're hoping that they will lose, and then they come here this weekend for another really, really big game. So.
Think about this. If Tampa Bay loses and the Sabres win,
then we're at 80. We could tie it, but again, they've got 2 more games.
That's true.
But then when we play them again, that will be huge.
Saturday night.
So. I can't imagine how much those tickets are going for. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
I should look that up. Okay, we'll look it up. We'll also talk about March Madness tickets and how the city is preparing for March Madness coming up right after the break. Stay with us. All right, I am looking up Sabres tickets. So Sabres play the Lightning on Sunday.
Not Saturday.
Not Saturday.
Okay.
The Nashville Predators are here on Saturday. So it's Pittsburgh tonight, and then we play on Thursday and Saturday and Sunday. Anyway, Sunday against the Lightning, not crazy. 300 level tickets are between like $65 and $90.
And that's I'm assuming a 1 o'clock?
That's 6 p.m.
Oh, is it?
On Sunday,
6 p.m.
March 8th. And as I said, again, the schedule for the Sabres is Penguins tonight, Nashville Predators on Saturday, and then Tampa Bay on Sunday. So there you go. But just a couple of years ago, when the Sabres weren't in the playoffs, you could get tickets right now for about $8. Now they're about $80. So that
10%, 10 times as much.
10 times, right? And in just 2 weeks, KeyBank Center will be filled with fans for March Madness. Those games are the 19th and the 21st. Now, local restaurants are already preparing for this huge influx of visitors from out of town and Western New Yorkers who are going downtown to see the games. 2 on your sides, Chelsea Swift has more on a developing plan to bring more food options downtown.
We're trying to be as proactive as possible this time around in letting the community know what to expect and how to prepare in order to make this the most successful one yet.
Visit Buffalo says it's been meeting with business owners to help them prepare for the expected increase in foot traffic. Between games, there will be a roughly 90-minute window when fans will likely be looking for places to eat. The owner of Osteria 166 says they've learned from the last time the tournament was in town.
We're actually doing a buffet, a $25 buffet to get people through quicker. During the off day, we'll have extra TVs in here, and we'll be running drink specials and food specials all weekend. And we're doing Meatball Madness, which is our little take on the tournament.
The Buffalo waterfront is now finalizing plans to bring food trucks to Canalside on Thursday, March 19th. The owner of the Cheesy Chick food truck and cafe says she's had success at Canalside events like this one.
We love to be able to serve people, especially if restaurants are going to have 1 hour, 2 hour waiting times. A lot of times people just don't have enough time for that. So food trucks are generally fast and easy, and we get you in and out.
A spokesperson from the Buffalo Mayor's office releasing a statement that reads in part, quote, downtown operations are slightly more complex. Certain areas fall within what is considered the special downtown district, where food truck activity must be coordinated with Buffalo Place.
The more that our restaurants and our food trucks can kind of be at the ready and prepare to welcome our visitors and accommodate that very tight time frame, the more seamless of an experience it'll be for all of our visitors.
On your side in Buffalo, Chelsea Swift, Channel 2 News.
All right, so if you are planning on going to any of the March Madness games, here's a look right now from StubHub at what ticket prices are looking like. Now, this is for the Thursday 1 o'clock game for session one. Wow. Oh, those are 100 level tickets. Okay, that we're seeing at $280. But for 300 level tickets, they're $91. That's the Thursday at 1 o'clock game. Now, if you do the Saturday at 1 o'clock, those are much more expensive. Here we go. This is Saturday at 1 o'clock, and you see that the 300 level tickets are in the $200 range. And again, a lot of people are buying Thursday and Saturday together if they can afford it, and then they're hoping to resell some of the seats, but we won't know who will be playing here until Selection Sunday. So it could be really great teams, or it could be not so great teams. Although, you know, not so great teams could be a Cinderella story, like Florida Gulf Coast University. Remember
was that last year? Oh, yeah.
That was a couple of years ago.
And they went, did they go all the way?
I think to the Final Four.
Final Four, okay.
Maybe Elite Eight, but really fun to see.
Didn't like brackets get busted like out of the gate, like nobody?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy, the odds of the bracket?
That no one has ever had a perfect bracket,
and
ever.
You would think, how hard can, I mean, all you have to do is pick, 64 games, I guess perfectly. I guess that is hard.
Yeah.
But it's like one in like some 100 million. And it's crazy.
And now with AI, you wonder if AI is going to be able to create, really work out the numbers.
So all you do is you take a picture of the bracket and put it in AI? Is that
you wouldn't have every favored team win. That never happens. So how do you know, between a 5 and a 6? I don't know if AI, I don't know. But we shall see this year if anybody can create a perfect bracket.
Yeah, I don't know. So you can like take a picture of something and it analyzes it, the picture, and all the information on that?
Sure.
Okay, I don't know. I'm still, my wife and kids are totally into it. I'm still,
So you
understanding
imagine
AI.
The Granville case, where there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents that are dumped all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You can put that PDF in AI.
So it's like
and
Cliff
say,
Notes.
give me the Cliff Notes version, or give me the 10 takeaways from this.
Gotcha.
Then you have to double check that it's right, because it doesn't always get it right. So it's not like you can just believe everything you see.
Yeah.
But you can say, pull out a quote from this person or
Gotcha.
a quote from that person, and it does
Right.
it for you. Yes.
Do you remember waking up? Do you remember opening up your book bag in high school and hoping your teacher didn't see that yellow Cliff Note book next to like the Iliad and the Odyssey, and then you had this yellow book because then they would know.
I read the Iliad and Odyssey in Latin.
Of course you did. In Latin.
And not the Cliff Notes version.
They teach Latin still. I know at Hamburg High, Latin is like a coveted class, and you can win awards, and there's a Latin club, and you can all this stuff. That's one of the Romance languages.
There's an AP
Oh my!
Latin.
How did you read the whole thing?
Well, with the help of my teacher, and I couldn't tell you a thing. I have that
crazy.
memorizing brain
Oh my
where like
God.
I was good in school, but I can't remember anything now. And it did not help very much with SATs and vocabulary.
Where did
and all
that get you in your career?
I work with Patrick Hammer. I do not need Latin on a day-to-day basis.
That's how I speak. You go into a job interview. Melissa, tell us what you've done. Well, I was on honor roll, I did this, and I read the Iliad in Latin.
It's one of my big braggadocious moments, right? All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. Get your umbrellas. You're going to need them today. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Daybreak.